away from the harbour. As we see on the Isuzu UTE tunnel cam, it's a different-looking Macarthur home kit tonight. They're playing in the pink shirts, and the Sony Foundation of Australia, who provide unforgettable experiences, camps for children with disabilities. That is one of the initiatives of the Sony Foundation and the one that Macarthur are supporting tonight in the third edition of the Charity Cup. So there will be a trophy on the line tonight, which the home side will no doubt be hoping to leave with. Sydney FC, on the other hand, want to continue their good form head-to-head against the Bulls. They were 2-0 winners at Leichhardt Oval earlier in the season, and there is that Charity Cup that they'll be playing for tonight. Not often you see the win probability dead level. Probably a lot of respect for Macarthur's home record, and historically these two teams are razor thin between them. Macarthur 6 wins, Sydney 7, and just the 1 draw. Both teams have been out for the warm-up. The pitch in excellent condition, as it has been all season at Campbelltown Stadium. It's seen slightly more traffic than usual with the AFC Champions League 2 games, and that has allowed Macarthur to reach deep into their squad and certainly show the value of what they've got. Sydney FC tonight looking for a spark. Let's take a look at Macarthur first. Heavily rotated from the team that played on Monday in a 1-1 draw against Auckland. De Silva, Bernardo, Duran, Rose and Mackay all into Mile Stojovski's starting 11, moving Vickery, Scott, Bosniak and Sawyer to the bench, while Randazzo and Krislovic are promoted at the expense of the suspended Uskok, Matthew Yerman and Chris Economidis. Sydney FC, by contrast, make 2 changes. Pat Wood and Tiago Quintal into the starters. Abel Wallity moves to the bench. Jordan Courtney-Perkins and also Joel King are added to the bench, but there are no spots for Al Hassan Toure or Wataru Kamijo in Ufuk Tale's matchday squad. There is Mile Stojovski, always a relaxed figure on the sidelines, and his assistant Bruno Berner. They aren't quite a fire and brimstone combination, but you will hear from them should the need arise. But Mile looking all business, the former Socceroo in the dugout for the Bulls here, looking for 7 in a row undefeated. Ufuk Tale, by contrast, just wants his team to get their scoring boots back on. They had to wait until late in the game at Leichhardt to score twice. And on that occasion, it was Marcel Tisserand with his only goal for the club, and then the injured Joe Lolly, who came through with late goals. Sean Evans, having recently passed the 200-game milestone, has the whistle for this one, with assistants Andrew Memorakis and Alessandro Liana, and the fourth official is Eric Saba. And in the VAR booth, should they be required, are Lara Lee and George Lakridis. Great to see the youngster doing the coin toss, also wearing one of the pink Macarthur shirts. They will be auctioned off. Check out the Macarthur website for more of those details if you like how they look tonight. Ryan Grant, the Sydney FC captain, making sure to line up for the formalities and the photos pre-kickoff. And on the sidelines, we see Damien De Silva going through the last of his preparation. It's his 50th career A-League men's match tonight. Of course, his first stint in the league was with Melbourne Victory before a brief sojourn back in France and a return to Australia. He's 38 years young, the veteran, and still looking as sharp as ever at centre-back. At the other end of the experience scale, Tiago Quintal, the former young Socceroo, staying with Sydney FC, but no doubt would have ambitions of linking up with the Olyroos in the not-too-distant future. For night, his main priority, the 19-year-old, is providing a bit of that creative spark. He's had just the 2 starts prior to tonight, so an opportunity for him to show what he can do in the starting 11. So Macarthur huddling up. Can they put one back over Sydney FC for what happened back in round 4 when Marcel Tisserand rose and headed in the match-winning goal? It was a flatter Macarthur performance in that game because they were coming off a 3-day break from the Champions League 2. Their upswing in league form has coincided with the end of that group stage and slightly longer breaks between the games, but perhaps Mile Stojovski with his raft of changes tonight, acknowledging the short turnaround from Monday and also the stifling heat, which no doubt will have a say in this game. It's always a big deal for Anthony Caceres when he comes up against the Sky Blues. He got those cobwebs and nerves out of the system earlier in the season, but he gets to show what he can do here tonight. And the whistle gets us underway at Campbelltown. Round 12 of the Isuzu UTE A-League Men's Macarthur FC hosting Sydney FC. And it's a pleasure to welcome former A-League champion Daniel McBreen to the commentary box. Macca, good evening.
Good evening, Teo, and to all our viewers, to a very warm Campbelltown Stadium. Hopefully when that sun drops, the temperature drops as well. Difficult conditions for players. Macarthur, as you said, Teo, in a rich vein of form. Haven't tasted defeat in a while. Sydney FC, on the other hand, failed to score in 3 of their last 6, so a little bit of a change for them up front tonight. Pat Wood coming into the lineup as we see an early injury here.
Well, this is not good for Macarthur. Down at the opposite end of the pitch. Concern here for the wrist of Rafa Duran. He's finally hit form, the Mexican. He's netted his first 2 goals in the A-League after a very slow start to proceedings. A concerned look on the face of his coach. Can you unpack exactly what is ailing him here, Macca?
Well, the short answer is no. I haven't. Maybe we can find a replay of what has happened, but obviously a whack on the wrist.
Ball falls at the feet of Luke Bratton, another player with strong sky blue connections going up against his former side, now 2 seasons removed. Not quite able to bring Bernardo Oliveira into play there. Ryan Grant with the throw-in. Pat Wood, a start for him tonight. And a big opportunity. No starts in his 10 appearances so far this season for Pat Wood, so a rare opportunity for him.
Well, I think this is another look. Yeah, you see there just the follow-up from Devonish Mears as he cleared it. Just clips the wrist. Rafa Duran, I'm sure he'll be fine. Just a contact.
And you can see him leading the press and leading the line here. And he's got company, and it's effective. Well, briefly. The whistle goes, though. Sean Evans has seen a foul, and Macarthur will retain possession, albeit a bit deeper in midfield.
Well, for a brief moment there, it looked like Caceres has done well. That's a late challenge. Oof, it's actually a very high challenge. Didn't see Caceres coming, and oof, the studs are up. Yeah, he's going to get a talking to. Yeah, we'll be having a close look at this. Ooh.
Well, yellow card out of the pocket, but is that the effect of slow-mo replay making it look worse than it perhaps did at first glance?
Well, it was a split second, wasn't it? He didn't see Caceres coming and he's stretching, but that is high. And the stamping motion down on Caceres, you see as Caceres' foot hits the ground, you see it buckle under the challenge. Have another look here. You look at that, that's almost at the top of Caceres' shin pad and sock. And you see the ankle buckle underneath. VAR will be having a very good look at this.
Oh, each replay.
Yeah, it looks worse every time, doesn't it? But maybe we could see it in normal speed, might give us a different view at how quick it happened, but Fuktale is certainly the edge of his technical area, just asking the 4th official and the assistant referee.
Lara Lee, a vastly experienced referee in the A-League Women's, and George Lacrindis, a household name effectively of the assistant referee community. They're in the VAR booth and they are happy with the on-field call. So a yellow card. Ocon Exler still has to watch his step for his remainder of participation in the game, but we're ready to get back underway. Bratton. Popovic, and Devonish Mears was crucial. The ball is behind for a corner. And he's come back to the A-League with a real goal-scoring touch, Christian Popovic.
Well, it was a wonderful ball in. But I thought Tally would be wondering, how has he been able to pull the ball down inside that area? Takes a touch, brings it down inside the box. And that just can't happen defensively. Just stretching for the strike. First touch just a little off. Devonish Mears does well.
Outswinging corner from Bratton, cleared by Yulee and Quintal. However, only as far as Callum Talbot. Bratton, a driven cross this time. Duran's header, and held on to by Harrison Devonish Mears. But he's already had a big moment in this game so far. Christian Popovic, who scored away to Beijing in the ACL2, and very nearly had his first A-League goal since 2020 right there. He just seems to have a developed set-piece threat about him, having returned to this Macarthur team at centre-back. Talbot with a giveaway here that could prove costly. Grant, Patwood with the flick on, can't bring Victor Campuzano into play. And Damien De Silva finds Will Mackay over at right back. Mackay hoping for Duran, and Duran makes it work initially. Alex Grant able to dispossess him to the advantage of Piero Kisbe. And now Sydney FC consolidate through Marcel Tisserand. Touch for Tiago Quintal. And Ocon Engstler, well, he's wiped out by Rose, and just a free kick. No card to come with it, although I'm sure the travelling Sydney FC fans will be keeping tabs on every return tackle from now.
Well, I think the fact that Ocon Engstler was able to avoid the major contact may have helped Liam Rose a little there.
Yulee finds Tiago Quintal. A deft little touch, couldn't get the better of Popovic. Caceres spills possession. Bratton, and now Talbot. Lively start to the game. And it's nicked off the toes of Bernardo Oliveira, and despite the urgings of Mile Stajovski playing ball boy, it is going to be Sydney FC's throw.
Well, it's been a bright start considering the conditions. Both teams, plenty of energy, moving the ball around. Important points tonight for both these teams with Auckland's win yesterday. Just a little gap opening up.
I think it would be fair to say that all the Auckland fans, whether they've made the trip back to New Zealand today or they're still enjoying their time in Brisbane as the away bay last night, will be hoping for a draw just so they can extend their gap over both second and third in the league. With Wanderers defeating Melbourne Victory earlier today, the ladder compresses even further, allowing Auckland the chance to slip away at the top if we don't have a winner tonight. That ball was so slightly overhit.
Well, you wouldn't want to be a gambling person, would you, on the A-League? It is so hard to pick. It is such a tight competition.
We were keenly watching the end of that Wanderers game, but of course the aftermath and the reaction will be very interesting to factor in as well. I imagine both teams would be aware of that result. Probably would have made its way around both warm-ups, that the whistle had gone and Wanderers had got the win.
Yeah, for sure. As much as they're concentrating on the job at hand, there's always someone who's got one eye on the other matches.
As we heard on football tonight, Harry Sawyer was keeping tabs on how many coffees young Seb Kerslovic owed him for mucking up the drill. Anyway, those two are both on the bench. They're probably still discussing it rather than the 11s that started the game. There he is, Harry Sawyer.
Well, as I do every time I see him at the venue, I asked him what's the celebration for tonight, and he said, I haven't got one. I've got to do some serious thinking in the next hour. So we're all waiting with bated breath.
One thing we can anticipate is that he'll feature at some point. Of course, Ji Dong-won still injured. Mitch Duke can't play until the transfer window opens on the 16th. So Macarthur playing with a different looking forward line tonight, with Rafa Duran leading the line. Quite 10 minutes in yet. They haven't exactly had a meaningful chance for any of their forwards. It's been the set piece and Christian Popovic who's had the best chance so far. Sydney FC looking to answer with an opportunity of their own. Alex Grant. Looks up in a fairly static midfield. This does Tisser on.
It's a very stacked midfield, isn't it? With Sydney's slight change to their formation. Wood and Macarthur up front as a 2 when you've got both Kithbe and Quintal coming in as 2 10s from those wider areas. So essentially 4 midfielders for Sydney against the 3 of Macarthur.
Yuli all the way back to his keeper, Devonish Mears, roaming out of his penalty area. Tisserand a firmly hit pass, but Quintal shows us his first touch to keep Sydney FC in possession. O'Connor from the base of midfield. Saw a runner on the left. It's a long, hopeful ball, and too long for Ben Garuccio, and you can see his disappointment at a couple of passes now that have been well beyond his capability to sprint them down.
Well, it was a decent run. He took off and realised he had to check the run again. Just angled his run across the line before going as it was released, but the pitch was sprinkled with a dusting of water just before kick-off, and looks like it's still making a little bit of a greasy surface for the ball to skip away.
Alex Grant up for the header. Wood outpointed in the air by De Silva. Shimek still yet to really acquaint himself with the game. Now it's Yuli's turn to duck back in between the centre-backs and play out. Campuzano draws the foul.
Well, Sturjowski asking the question pretty much on this side. Everyone is asking, including us. He just got that wrong.
Rose. A twist to keep the ball in. And a hit pass from Grosjean, though. Intercepted by Talbot. Caceres. Mackay wants to advance the ball. Can't quite find Shimek Grosjean. Yuli. Campuzano linking up with Quintal. And then not on the same wavelength as Ryan Grant, who was breaking central as the pass went wide.
Well, it was the ball, wasn't it? Ryan Grant just wanted to play it inside, and also the other side was Pat Wood with the angled pass as well. Got that one totally wrong. Promising situation for Sydney FC.
Bratton escapes a 1-on-2. Now Talbot. Popovic. And Rose. Now he can distribute from deep in midfield. Long ball over the top, too long. Easy pickings for Devonish Mears. Alex Grant. And Piero Quispe draws a foul from Liam Rose. The Peruvian wants to play it quickly, but the referee insisting the free kick be taken a little bit further back. Now Yuli. Quispe. Garuccio. Yuli again. He's going to take on the game through the middle. Pat Wood on his bike. Does the bounce work for him? It doesn't. Out comes Philip Curto with a confident play.
that was going to work. He had to get the foot out and try and get it on the full before the bounce. It was just out of his reach. Curto confidently sweeping his back line.
Bratton now in a pocket of space. Finds Caceres. Macarthur on the attack. Caceres leaves the ball with Bernardo, and he's had his pocket picked. Quintal doing very nicely. Consolidates with Yuli. Forcefully struck back pass down to Devonish Mears, and his distribution nearly invited in Grosjean. But all's well that ends well back at the feet of the keeper. Tisserand. You see Macarthur picking their moment to press here, but some cool heads have prevailed for Sydney FC. Ocon-Exler. Does that leave a gap now that Sydney can exploit in the other direction? Quintal, quick to shuffle it on to Ryan Grant. Ocon-Exler. Thiago Quintal in a busy penalty area. Ocon-Exler with the bender, just wide of the left-hand post.
Well, tidy football from Sydney FC, and that young man, Ocon-Exler, at the heart of it. Started right down at the other end with Devonish Mears. Ends up with Ocon again at the edge of the box. Had to bend it. Saw Lockie Brook yesterday just bend one in with the left foot from a wider area, but couldn't quite get the radar on there.
That camera angle made it look a lot further away than our vantage point, which was slightly more exciting. Here's Quintal again, and Talbot did enough to convince the referee that there was no foul. Play continues. Ocon-Exler onto the head of Talbot this time. Bernardo. Callum Talbot. Liam Rose had nothing on ahead of the ball. Just a midfield pair of Yuli and Ocon-Exler were blocking anything through the centre, so wide is the answer. And Mackay tried to play to his own advantage, and he's been stopped in his tracks by Kisbey. Sydney FC take over possession. Thiago Quintal. He's still not on the same wavelength as Ryan Grant, who's made a lung-straining sprint to the edge of the penalty area that was declined by the midfielder.
Well, I just watched Ryan Grant as Quintal had the ball.
Good stand-up defending by De Silva. He sold Popovic into a spot of bother. Now Kisbey, Garuccio, Piero Kisbey. Well, he misses Garuccio, who wasn't expecting a return pass. Bratton from the base of midfield. Devonish Mears, keeper sweeper, effectively so. Alex Grant picks a pass and finds Kisbey. Can he do better here? He cannot. It slides out for a throw in, and it gives us the chance to check in at ground level. Kat Haddad, good evening.
I wonder if it's the change of colour of shirt for Rufuk Talay that's calmed him. Normally wears the white shirt, but in the hot temperatures has the black shirt on today. Maybe it's his calming colour.
Oh, in rugby union, the All Blacks were really big on the idea of get rid of the red mindset, go into a blue mindset to calm yourself down. You never know. You just never know. Of course, Sydney FC in their away kit tonight. Macarthur in unfamiliar colours. The once-a-season kit that they wear, so no sky blue for Sydney FC, nor the jacaranda that we've seen at times. Here's Kisbey getting a few more touches and getting into the game now. Pat Wood forging forward. Garuccio, first-time cross. Popovic, good technique to clear, reaching up for a volley. Caceres. Grosjean protects the ball late. And his pass, not ideal for Popovic, but De Silva's able to find Mackay, and Mackay trying to force a pass that maybe wasn't on. Yuli, first time ball, a good one. Quintal, a quick head check. Back to Yuli. Now Garuccio drifting forward. Whips in across Garuccio. No one attacking the ball for Sydney FC though. Scan your eyes around and you'll look for the centre forward whenever that happens. Campuzano has now put himself at the top of the penalty area. Quintal working with Grant, working with Yuli. Alex Grant. Garuccio. It's a long string of attacking passes for Sydney FC. Wood. A sidestep to open some space. And just a sighter, a pot shot from Pat Wood, and he puts it wide.
Well, just watching Pat Wood and Campuzano as a two up front. Not seeing too much of them being close together, looking to work as a pair. Pat Wood's dropping one side, Campuzano on the other. When one of them gets the ball or looks to get the ball, they're not close, so they can't act as a two. There's no little step overs and spin or a little touch around the corner. They need to be working as a duo.
I did flag that it is Wood's first start to the season, and he and Campuzano have not shared the pitch a great deal so far. Okonexler can't find Wood with that pass. Pat Wood did score in consecutive games back at the end of October and start of November, but it's now 7 without a goal, albeit all 7 of those appearances as a sub. Campuzano, he's the Central Coast specialist, but he hasn't scored against any other opponent so far for Sydney FC. As we see Macarthur venture forward at the other end, and Mackay tipping over to the left flank. Will Mackay, 19 years old, it's his 5th A-League appearance tonight, but we've seen him play 2 full 90s in the ACL 2. It does feel like Macarthur have really, in addition to topping their group, been beneficiaries from getting a look at so many players in their squad. They didn't have quite as long a Australia Cup run as we've become used to. And 6 Champions League group games, and they've also got knockout games coming in February. They'll be taking on Bangkok United over 2 legs, in addition to their A-League duties. Here's Caceres. Ran into a trap. Back to Rose. I think they've made a fullback switch here, Macarthur.
Yeah.
Not just the product of broken play that Will Mackay is now over at left back. We'll come back to that though because they're on the attack. Here goes Bernardo. And a low worm-burning attempt. Just didn't have the bend on it to come back. Bernardo Oliveira going for the element of surprise.
And I'm not sure if Harrison Devonish-Mears wasn't sure if it was going to creep in. It was good pressing here. Got himself in trouble in this corner. And all of a sudden, Bernardo, he just looks to, as you say, just slide it into that far post area. And Devonish-Mears was at full stretch.
He's never scored against Sydney FC, Bernardo. Only the 4th time he's faced off against them tonight. Played within himself since the card. About a quarter of the way through the night's action. Yuli here. Grant is gesticulating for a wide pass instead. Long ball is the answer. Popovic wins the header. Mackay. Bratton. And with a tap at the ankles, he loses the ball. Campuzano. Bratton goes and wrestles it back. I think both players felt they were fouled there. Instead, the referee let them sort it out amongst themselves. Bratton prevailed. And as Macarthur pass around the back, why do you think we've seen the fullback change with Talbot going over to right back and Macarthur left back for Macarthur. Is there something Sydney FC have been doing that's necessitated that?
Not that I have seen, if I'm going to be honest.
Here's a chance for Kispe. Only still looking for that first A-League goal. Piero Kispe fires high over the bar.
In those areas, he's got to be doing better, doesn't he? It's a lovely build-up play from Sydney FC, and that's a great position to really test the goalkeeper. And the finish almost speaks to his goal-scoring record.
It was struck with power, but not conviction, you'd have to say.
I think he was like he was stretching a little for it. Didn't really get to the line of the ball, and when you stretch, you lean back and you lift the ball.
Rose, advantage given. Caceres at a sprint. Decision time with the pass though. Blocked by Tisserand. And Quintal takes on Mackay, loses that to Bratton. Back at the feet of Caceres, straight to Bernardo. And Bernardo, well, jagged inside, but showed too much of the ball to Yuli. Yuli. The pass to just clear the lines and allow the defence to push up. And they take 20 metres. Here's Curto. Popovic, Sydney FC trying to press now, make things a little rushed for Macarthur. Bratton around the corner. Alex Grant brings it down. Ocon to Kispe. Piero Kispe. Like the shot, the pass has abandoned him there.
Well, again, disappointing. Tale's retreated to the far end of the dugout. Sent the subs off for a warm-up. Just needs a little personal space.
It's a warm night. There's too many bodies around, you get even more stifled. There are some of the subs. Taking a closer look at Joel King there amongst them. You imagine they will all have a key role to play as the night goes on. 5 apiece for both teams. Here's Garuccio. Again, rising to a sprint, trying to up the tempo of the game. Kispe, return ball to Garuccio. That will be a corner kick for Sydney FC. Taken quickly. Kispe. Have they caught out the Macarthur defence? Ryan Grant's header. Oh, Wood was in possession. Following up is Kispe and Christian Popovic. All important there, winning that header away. And the element of surprise very nearly came off.
Well, I'd like to see the stats on Sydney FC. How many times Ryan Grant gets the first header. So many of the games he seems to just gravitate towards the ball and get a header back across the area. At times he's run so well.
So 2 quarters in quick succession, a more conventional delivery here, and comfortably dealt with at the near post by Durant. The wind has picked up. It's favouring the end that Macarthur are attacking in the first half. So Sydney FC attacking into it at the moment. Very patiently so. Ocon Exler. Tisserand. Makes Ryan Grant backtrack. Ocon Exler, Grant. Yuli made a good run. Oh, and not trapped by Quintal. So Bratton takes over right up the middle. Rapid Durant has Grosjean making a run. Durant bides his time. Now takes on Grant. And he did have a bit of dynamite in the boots there, and Garuccio deflects it out for a throw-in.
Well, it was a great run from Jimmy Grosjean. And I think he should have received the pass. A bit defence just opened up. I don't think Luke Bratton could realise the space that Durant had. When he turned, he has a look, and you'll see the run there. Grosjean just across the middle. It just opened up in front of him, but decided to take it himself.
Caceres. Talbot. And he's given up the ball. Grant. Kisbay. Here's Yuli. Ryan Grant. Yuli sees Campazano. Oh, referee's got to take evasive action. Now Kisbay. Patwood. Found Ryan Grant. Grant, a low drive. Kisbay! The moment arrives for the Peruvian, Piero Kisbay. His first A-League goal puts Sydney FC into the lead. And it is a very slick build-up that allows him a big smile. Sydney FC 1, Macarthur 0.
Well, I think Tale hasn't showed too much emotion tonight, but that was some quality play from Sydney FC. On the Harvey Norman replay, Patwood does very well here. Lots of shirts around him. Ryan Grant, again, times his run to perfection. It's a great first touch from Piero Kisbay. And the quality, calm, assured finish as well. Tucks it into the corner. Nothing Philip Curto can do. And they've had a few moments in the match, Sydney FC, where they've played great football through Macarthur FC. And this time, it pays dividends.
Piero Kisbay with his first senior goal since March when he scored for Pumas against Puebla in Mexico. Ufuk Talay doing his best Ernie Merrick impersonation on the bench, however. Let's throw it down during this cooling break to Kat Haddad on the sidelines. Kat, we have a goal. As we watch the goal again, the wind has picked up. Has it made any great difference to the temperature, and is the wind having any great bearing from where you're observing down at ground level? Thanks to Kat Haddad. And the cooling break coming exactly after Macarthur had conceded. Any thoughts as to what Milo Sajovski might have been addressing in the huddle, as his team now has 12 minutes plus no doubt a considerable chunk of stoppage still to go in the first half?
Well, obviously, off the back of a goal, straight into a drinks break, I'm sure he would have been addressing the frailties there. The fact that Patwood could take his touch and have so many pink shirts around him, and be allowed to play that pass out to Ryan Grant, who I must admit, I thought he'd gone a little too early, but timed it to perfection. And then the question to be asked is how Piero Kisbay is standing pretty much unmarked around the penalty spot.
Patwood defending from the front here, but a bit of a striker's challenge, snapping at the ankles of Caceres. So this might be Luke Bratton territory here to drop a set piece, and indeed the two centre-backs are making their way up, so there won't be a quickly taken free kick. Macarthur would love nothing more than to draw levels straight away in that travelling Sydney away bay, who've been providing the soundtrack of the game so far. They're having a good night in the southwestern suburbs. Bratton's free kick. Devonish Mears goes up, and it's a good one-grab claim. Sheets so far, 10 completed games for Devonish Mears this season. And another one, if he can keep it tonight, as things stand, would put Sydney FC into a fairly convincing hold on second place in the league. Wood forges a path, and now Kisbay. Confidence up with the goal to his name. Back to Pat Wood. And the shot just kept sliding wide.
Again, I think he was just stretching for the ball. Makes it difficult to control. It was bustling Pat Wood at the start that kept them going forward, and Kisbay just waiting. And again, that angle shows it's a little bit further away than it looked from us.
That's the value of being here, enjoying the thrill ride, and then maybe the video evidence afterwards tells us a little bit more as we see it all from a different angle. Durant. Now Caceres. Campazano took out Bratton, and for that advantage is given, so free kick against the Spanish striker. Macarthur trying to capitalise, but Talbot can't see any way to progress down the right, and so reset with the centre backs is the decision. Grosjean. Rose and Bratton. Lots of touches, but no progress for the home side. Popovic's turn. Caceres attracting a crowd, and he did slide in late on Yuli. Ocon Exler to Wood. Kisbay. Campazano off and running. Tough pass to do anything with, though. And the defensive midfielders close in. And now Quintana a little bit too much in how he tried to dispossess Bratton there. To Grosjean. Bratton. See Sydney more than happy to let Macarthur have the ball. It's up to the Bulls to find a way. And Pat Wood leading a one-man press. Gives away the free kick.
You can see just a handful of shirt impedes the progress.
Bernardo. And he's found by Yuli. So again, another mid-range free kick. Bratton territory again.
Well, that's one player that I thought Macarthur would try to get on the ball a little more. Bernardo Oliveira hasn't seen too much of it, but when he has, he's been under heavy marshalling by Sydney FC defenders.
So whether it's from the left or the right channel, Luke Bratton has seen this picture a couple of times tonight. Can he get this one spot on? In-swinging free kick, and again it's Harrison Devonish Mears commanding his airspace.
Again, it's just a little too high. Have to go back to the 5th minute. Luke Bratton just dropped that one into Christian Popovic. That was their last shot on target 34 minutes ago. It's their only shot on target for the match so far.
We're back to see some urgency, though, from Macarthur. Tisserand hurried into a pass. Gives it away to his opposing centre-back, De Silva. Bratton, anticipated well by Yuli, but again, not able to bring a teammate into the equation. Caceres. Now Mackay. You hear the cowbells from the home fans. Urging for more. Rose well over the head of Grosjean, and it's catching practice in recent forward forays for Harrison Devonish-Mears. Garuccio slides a pass to Wood. Saw the opportunity to accelerate, and away goes Wood. Kispe through the left he travels. Kispe heard the shout. Ocon-Engstler blocked. Wood! Oh, good save, Curto! And the follow-up, Curto saves again. Bernardo is going to escape the penalty area. Philip Curto, though, 2 vital saves to keep the score at 1-0.
Well, quality goalkeeping, Philip Curto down well to his right. It looked like it might have been creeping into the bottom corner.
Sydney FC sensing the chance to double their lead as we tick into the final 5 minutes of regulation in the first half. Way back to the goalkeeper, Devonish-Mears. Trying to drop it on the head of Ryan Grant, but up goes Mackay. Bernardo, Grant. Oh, well played Mackay, the youngster. Bravely put his head in. Oh, and then Rose and Oliveira get in each other's way and conspire to lose the ball.
Here's another look. Curto save. What about the angle? Wood got out his feet, and he thought maybe he'd just done enough to get it past Philip Curto, and then the follow-up stays big and strong, saves the second with the shoulder.
Vital moments foiling Wood and then Quintal. Ryan Grant directing traffic. Campazano. Yuli. Ocon-Engstler able to squeeze the ball onto Alex Grant. Kispe, Garuccio providing the run right when Sydney needed it. Having stops and props. Wood. Garuccio, Bratton with a veteran move to obstruct his run into the penalty area legally and stop the attack unfolding. Grosjean. Bratton from deep at right back sees the outlet pass. Oh, and it's bounced over the head of Will Mackay.
Well, I'm sorry to say, but you could see that happening. He needed to get to the flight of the ball. We've seen the ball tonight skid off the surface. He just got that all wrong.
Luke Bratton down here, not looking too worried. Perhaps it's just equipment rather than the body, as he seems to be feverishly working away at the laces of his right boot here. There's Mitch Duke, still waiting for the transfer window to open so that he can get out on the pitch and start playing on his return to the A-League. Just enjoying a bit of solitude there, sitting in the crowd.
I spoke to him before the game, and he said he's just itching to get out there. He started doing a bit of training with the team now, and he just can't wait until he's available to play.
It's a big run to the World Cup for the likes of Mitch Duke among a number of candidates around the A-League. Long throw from Grant, finds Wood. Garuccio. Kispe makes a run. Piero Kispe, well, twists it back to Rose. Rose to Grosjean, not much ahead of the ball though. And in his attempts to play a back pass, he's coughed up possession here. Kispe wrestles Grosjean to the ground, and the free kick is given. And that will take us into stoppage time at the end of a first half that has belied the conditions, you'd have to say. It's been far more up-tempo than we have come to expect in temperatures north of 35 degrees, and we're into 3 minutes additional time.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Teo. You have to take your hats off to the players. Could have easily seen this one panning out, especially in the first 45, as just get through the motions and wait to the end in the second half. But both teams have really come with an energy.
Macarthur don't want to go in behind. At least not if Bernardo can do something here. Hung up across, Garuccio, the follow-up from Talbot, sliding into the penalty area, but only picked out Yuli. And now Kispe can potentially flip the field here if he goes quickly. He's happy to consolidate. And Macarthur get their midfield and defence back behind the ball. Pat Wood almost used the referee as a screen there. Turned over to Ryan Grant. Alex Grant. Wood knocked off the ball by De Silva illegally. Just taking a look at the flags around the ground, they're not as stiff as they were earlier in the half, so maybe this is shooting range for the right player here for Sydney FC.
Well, Sean Evans saying that Damien De Silva came through the back of Wood there. He tends to disagree. I think this might be just a little too far for a strike. Ryan Grant lurking on his own out at the back post area.
As we tick into the third and final minute of first half stoppage time. Kispe. Grant indeed, the first header. He called it earlier in the half, but this one slides out for a goal kick.
Well, it was a difficult one for him, stretching. Damn it, power.
Bernardo. Home fans find their voice, but no whistle to accompany Sydney FC. Only seconds left to play with here. Garuccio's been a real creator in this first half. That pass just a little shallow. Couldn't quite find Pat Wood. Duran. Great touch. Opens up the right side of the pitch. Off to the races. But well played, Ocon Exler to get back good side. And in comes Kispe. And the goal scorer for Sydney FC, well, he's cocked up the ball. Duran. Caceres goes to ground. Shimei Grosjean. And Duran arrived just a step too late as Ryan Grant clears away. Stoppage time has expired at the end of the first half. And Macarthur won't have time to take the throw in. Well, high drama at the end of the first half. Big team talk coming up for Mile Stajovski. And Ufuk Talay, you wouldn't know that his team was in the lead if his body language through the first half was anything to go by. But Piero Kispe, Sydney's Peruvian import, has his first Isuzu UTE A-League goal. And that is the difference between the two teams so far at half-time. Macarthur FC 0, Sydney FC 1. Stay with us. The panel will be with us on the other side of the break to take you through all the action and look ahead to what might change in the second half. You're watching the A-League. Welcome back to Campbelltown Stadium, where both teams are going to make a change before kick-off to start the second half. You can see Alexander Popovich of Sydney FC and also Walter Scott from Macarthur. And Scott is going to be coming on here for Will Mackay, so like for like, a change of full-backs. Scott a natural left-footer, and he's running over to left-back, as you might expect. And Popovich, a centre-back, is coming on here for Marcel Tisserand. So watch this space. Tisserand now will not get to repeat his efforts from the first meeting of these teams when he was able to score his one and only Isuzu UTE A-League goal so far. But it is Sydney FC through a different first-time goal scorer who do lead at the start of the second 45. Just a misfire though, taking kick-off here from Liam Rose. Ryan Grant jumping the gun, and we're underway now. Sydney FC leading 1-0 thanks to Piero Quispe. And Macarthur chasing the game. Daniel McBreen, what do you think we can expect as Macarthur go in pursuit of an equaliser to start this second half?
Well, we heard the half-time talk in the studio about Mile Sturjovski pre-match saying that they needed control of the midfield, which they definitely haven't done. Sydney FC have had much more of the possession, have looked the more dominant team, and they haven't been able to keep that ball, Macarthur. They've done cheap turnovers after they do such a good job of winning that ball back on their press, but then give it away quickly again. So I think would have impressed on them that importance to control the midfield, to keep the ball and try and move the Sydney FC team around. Don't have to go straight away. Sometimes patience is key.
Pat Wood coming in to Reece Ewley. Now Ryan Grant gave the shout to Quintal. He left the ball. Ryan Grant, first time cross. Campazano just wide of the left-hand post. Tried for the perfect lancing blow. It did catch a touch off a Macarthur player out for a corner.
Well, again, great football from Sydney FC, one side to the other. And that's a great run from Campazano across the front. It's just Christian Popovich with the clearance, just goes past that post.
Short corner, Quispe. Emphatic header initially. Pat Wood buzzing around, and Walter Scott, the half-time sub for Macarthur, hustling to keep the ball in, and he's late here. He's cleaned up Ryan Grant, and even though there is an apology, is he going to avoid the referee's book barely 2 minutes after coming on? It seems as though he is.
Well, just a little bit too eager. Ryan Grant, as we know, gets in quick and then just catches him a little late. A little bit of a touch there, and Ryan Grant knows that's an easy foul to win.
And now Sydney FC attacking the end at which their travelling fans have set up the Cove. They will be urging this free kick towards the penalty area. An in-swinger. And in! Victor Campazano did it perfectly. Sydney FC double their lead. A well-executed set piece. And the travelling fans do get to celebrate right in front of the action. Sydney FC 2, Macarthur 0.
Well, he gets his third for the season, Campazano. It's a great ball in, but the header is even better. On the Harvey Norman replay, we'll see. It just goes to that near post. He just helps it on. Just guides it. It knows exactly where he needs it to go. Knows the angles of the posts, and he just helps it on. And that is a wonderful header. For the second time this evening, Philip Curto can do nothing about it. Garuccio with the delivery, and Campazano with the glancing header that takes them to 2 in front.
Well, it is a belated Happy New Year for the Spaniard. First goal since the 6th of December. And you can see now he's got 3 in 11 in the A-League. And more importantly, Sydney FC, barely minutes into the second half, have put their best foot forward to claim all 3 points and second place on the table. And Macarthur's task became all the more difficult.
Well, as the teams scroll across the bottom of your screens there, it's the worst possible start for Miles Sturjovski's team. And Pat Wood has been a little niggle, a little thorn in the side of Damien De Silva and co. And there's another one of those just scrappy giveaways. Very sloppy from Macarthur.
Popovic. That's Alexander Popovic, the half-time sub. Namesake of Christian Popovic in the Macarthur team. Here comes Caceres. The cutback is on. Popovic clears. And a drive from Liam Rose. Blocked and cleared. Crucial from Popovic in the end. In concert with Ocon Exler. Capitano, the most recent goal scorer, to Quintal. Nicely played by Ryan Grant. Here goes Tiago Quintal. Sydney FC full of confidence. And they've got numbers forward here. Kispe on for Pat Wood. The back heel. Can't find a teammate. Swept away by Talbot. Alex Grant leans into a header. Kispe can turn into attack. Garuccio. Tiago Quintal plays it back to Alex Grant. Well, Macarthur chasing shadows at the moment. Sydney FC 2-0 lead in pocket, owning the ball. Popovic, bit of a hit and hope this time onto the head of Walter Scott. Christian Popovic up for an aerial duel. And a foul on Liam Rose. And a chance for us to throw it down to ground level. Kat Haddad, welcome back for the second half. Shot goes wide here from Bernardo. Daniel McBreen, the flag belatedly goes up for offside.
Yeah, you could see just allowing the play as they do these days. As the ball was struck through just a little too early there. I just wonder if Kat has any news on Marcel Tisserand, whether it's an injury or just a precaution.
Thanks, Kat. We'll keep checking in as the night progresses. Garuccio. Pass was a little hurried. Straight to Talbot. Now Shime Grajan. Rafa Duran. The ball ran long. Alexander Popovic in with a slide tackle. Walter Scott. Bernardo back to Scott. His pass intercepted by Ocon Exler. And he's fouled by Caceres.
Well, again, it's a sloppy turnover from Duran. That was a great ball into him. He just had to take his touch and turn, and he just took his eye off the ball. Turns over possession, and then they end up giving away the foul. There's been so many of those moments for Macarthur tonight. Just sloppy turnovers, poor passes, poor touches.
Curto keeps the ball in. 8.5 minutes ticked by in the second half. Sydney FC doubling their lead. You can see Macarthur favouring the left side of their attack. Look at that, only 9% of attacks through the middle corridor of the pitch. It's a very low number. And right on cue, Philip Curto sprays it to the sideline and out.
Well, again, communication as well between Walter Scott there and Bernardo. Both looked at each other. There was obviously no communication because they both looked at each other. Yours, mine, no. Oh, well, it's just going to go over the sideline.
Yulee. Assistant referee is flagging. It's going to be a Macarthur throw-in. No time wasted by Scott.
And just as we said, it's been very sloppy for Macarthur. Harry Sawyer, Luke Vickery getting their final instructions to come and try and inject something into this match.
Well, we were discussing when we saw the starting lineup that these are two of the players that perhaps fit the bill of being more effective as super subs than as starters, so this might be exactly the situation for them. It's a tough situation to find yourself in, because I would say the same G Dong Wan. I thought he was more effective as a sub as well, so maybe Mitch Duke arriving will be the perfect way to mix things up for this Macarthur attack that is so far drawing a blank tonight. So with 10 minutes ticked by in the second half, here comes the double change. Harry Sawyer with 5 goals to his name in the A-League so far this season. He's coming on for Rafa Duran, and Šime Grjean, the Croatian, has really struggled to get into the game tonight. He is replaced by 20-year-old winger Luke Vickery. So, double sub for Macarthur. And 2 of their import players leave the game, having really struggled to make an impact tonight.
Yeah, pretty sloppy performance so far from Macarthur. Harry Sawyer has been leading the charge in the goal-scoring stakes, and Luke Vickery has had a number of good performances of late, getting himself on the score sheet. That late winner against the Jets on Boxing Day, had a great match that day. Anyway, Sturjovski will hope that he can replicate that form.
Kispe's pass brought under control by Alex Grant. You can see Sawyer, real man mountain, a towering presence. Pat Wood getting into a bit of a to-do here with Callum Talbot. Quickly expiring though. De Silva. Rose. Foul was given. And play is now at the feet of Callum Talbot again. Bernardo skips inside. Trying to find Caceres. Liam Rose, Sawyer, Caceres, Bernardo. Catches a big deflection. That will take it out for a Macarthur corner.
Well, that's better football from Macarthur. Quick 1 or 2 touch football, moving the ball. Runners off the park, off the ball as well. Bernardo, he cuts inside on that right foot, you know it's danger.
You see the wind really has picked up as Bratton stands next to the corner flag. A driven corner. Sawyer wins the header, but not to any great effect. Well, the night is young. We haven't even reached the hour mark yet. Sydney FC, here's why they find themselves in the ascendancy by 2 goals.
Well, Campithano showing that you don't need to be 6'5" to score good headers. Delightful finish.
Yulee. Koningslar. Back to Yulee. Quintal commanded the ball, spins into a little bit of space. However, plenty of Macarthur players now behind the ball. Yuli. Kintal to Reece Yuli. Oh, he's lunged after losing possession. Bratton on the end of his challenge, and it's a yellow card out of the pocket. So that's both the central midfielders, Erkan Engstler and Reece Yuli, on a yellow card.
Well, I was just keeping an eye on Ufuk Talay in that little phase of play. And every time Thiago Quintal got the ball in an advanced position and went backwards, he threw his hands in the air and spoke to his staff. And he did it, I think, 3 times in that phase, and then eventually got up and started walking out to tell his players to start playing forward. He's frustrated with them going backwards.
Pile up of bodies in the corner. Who's going to emerge with possession? It is Macarthur. An up and under cross. Talbot trying to keep the attack going, but he's given up possession here. Changes haven't seen an immediate turn in fortunes for the home side. See them trying to trap Sydney FC in their defensive half here, though. Vickery and Sawyer linking up. Maybe this is the moment. Talbot, a high cross that's going to take some retrieving. Bernardo back to Walter Scott. Bratton and Bernardo. Bernardo goes to work against 2 defenders, and he's going to, well, attempt to double back, and now he's given up possession and given away a foul, and it hasn't quite worked out how he might have imagined.
Well, he's had a difficult night, hasn't he? Bernardo hasn't got the ball too often, and when he has, that man in particular, Ryan Grant, has been all over him like a rash. He might not have the flowing locks anymore, but he's still very good value, isn't he?
A-League game number 327 tonight for the 34-year-old. And in a sign of his durability, he's playing against Macarthur for the 14th time tonight. I was shocked to see that thing. Has Macarthur been in the league that long that someone's been able to play against them 14 times already? Oh, it's Ryan Grant. Barely lost a step, and of course he has the assist for the goal tonight as well. The opening goal from Kispe. Here's Pat Wood looking to make it 3. It's Wood! It is 3! The hustle and bustle and persistence of Pat Wood! And he goes over to celebrate with the Sydney fans. It's looking like a happy trip to the southwest for the Sky Blues.
Well, he's worked hard tonight, Pat Wood. He had a hand in the first goal. He really opened up the defence and put Ryan Grant in behind, and now he's got his own rewards. He's been a constant niggle in the side of Popovic to Silva. But on the Harvey Norman replay, it's just pure heart there to win it, and then he uses his pace and goes around Popovic, and it's a decent finish. Good strength to show there. Then he uses his guile and his speed to get around Popovic and tucks it away. And Sydney FC, dare I say, it might go into cruise mode. Philip Curto going to his right early may have just opened up that front post area, but it was a bustling run from Pat Wood, and he deserves his goal tonight.
Second time in his career he's found the back of the net against Macarthur, and it's career goal number 13 in game 99. The next time we see Pat Wood on the pitch, it'll be his 100th Isuzu UTE A-League game, and, well, crucially, he scored in his first start of the season. So, only a super sub until tonight, but he has rewarded the faith of Ufuk Talay by finding the back of the net. And just after the hour mark, Sydney FC, you used the term cruise mode, Daniel McBreen. I mean, they've put a significant gap between themselves and the home side here. And Macarthur, to this point of the game, haven't really looked like they have the answers to what Sydney FC have offered.
No, they haven't. It's been a very sloppy and laboured performance from Macarthur.
And it might be about to get worse because Bratton is down and Sydney FC have taken the ball. Quintal. Kispe has one. Oh, the back heel. Garuccio lifts across to the back post. Popovic. And through comes De Silva. Sydney FC fans maybe thought that Macarthur was fouled. Ryan Grant wants to keep the attack going out on the wing. And Sean Evans has put the whistle away here. And now Caceres with a little barge through Yuli as the ball goes into touch. I'll take your pick for each of the flashpoints during that phase of play.
Well, I can only assume we've paused for VAR just to check. All clear.
Saw Macarthur readying a double sub there, so next break and play it's going to be two more new faces coming on. Sydney FC appear to be readying Corey Holman to enter the game as well, so both teams about to turn to the bench again. Rose caught by Campazano. Sydney FC's defending from the front, coming to the fore. Ocon Engstler flooding forward. And now no finishing touch from Quintal. What a chance. That could have been 4.
Well, they were flooding forward in numbers, weren't they? Ocon Engstler with a decent pass, and he just slices right across it, doesn't he? Just snatches at it.
The subs still have to wait. A quick goal kick.
Well, it has to be said, even though they're up 3-0 and controlling the game, they are still flying into the challenges, aren't they?
I think they've shown a hunger that reflects the lack of satisfaction of their manager tonight. Tale doesn't look like a gaffer whose team is 3-0 up, and his team are playing like a team that don't think 3 is enough. Macarthur are just trying to find something here. Sydney are adamant this is a goal kick, but it looks as though it will be a corner. And again, that might cause both teams to put off making the substitutions here. Ollie Randazzo waiting to come on. Dean Bosniak has been sent back to the bench, so maybe Corey Holman's appearance has convinced Macarthur not to make 2 changes just yet. We are going to see one of these subs, and it's going to be Reece Yuli coming off here, and Corey Holman comes on. Holman's played just 78 minutes this season, his 3rd appearance for the 22-year-old, building his minutes. Yuli takes his leave, and Macarthur are going to make the change here, and it's Oliver Randazzo coming on for his 6th appearance of the season and 10th career. And interestingly, it's for Christian Popovic. So I do wonder, is he going in to play centre-back, or are we about to see Liam Rose drop into centre-back?
We'll have to wait and see how it pans out here. Very unusual to make a substitution on a corner, particularly defensive for Sydney FC.
Bratton from a short corner, blocked away by Popovic. And then Bratton puts a bear hug on Kispe, and a foul is given. Well, one thing we have to talk about with the Macarthur defence, they came into tonight on a 6-game undefeated run. Tomislav Uskok missed due to yellow card accumulation. Have we seen tonight the value of perhaps the underrated presence of Tomislav Uskok at the centre of the Macarthur defence?
Are you underrating him?
No, I'm suggesting that
I am just
he is, I think, an underrated player for Macarthur, and no Matt Yeoman in the squad at all tonight.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I think he is a very experienced senior player. He does read the play and organise well. Damien De Silva is that as well, but he's just been in and out of the team. Needed to look after him coming back from injury.
Macarthur still trying to cut the deficit here. Talbot flying in. His pursuit of a first ever A-League goal continuing into game 104 tonight, and he's won his team a corner.
And the answer to your other question is yes, you're right. Liam Rose is dropping back into the centre-back position.
just over 20 minutes of regulation to go. Macarthur enjoying a better spell, albeit 3-0 down. De Silva, a bit of grabbing and grappling going on, but he couldn't convince the referee that he was fouled. Scott's header is shallow, and Sydney FC, the counter-attack is on. Campazano will look up and see Quintal making ground in the penalty area. Campazano bides his time, and into the near post instead, trying to pick out Pat Wood with a late run.
Well, it was a nice idea, wasn't it? Great run from Pat Wood, and all he would have needed was just to get a toe on that, and it would have been trouble for Philip Curto. You see how he just waits, holds his run, and then Pat Wood goes. He gets a toe on that, and he just lifts it over Philip Curto at that near post.
The game is end-to-end at present. Randazzo, the most recent Macarthur sub. Now Bratton, the step around, keeping the ball at the edge of the box. Shot blocked immediately. A couple of times now in this half, Luke Bratton has tried his luck from distance, but hasn't been able to beat the nearest defender. Talbot, looking for Sawyer. And he went for the exaggerated header, but he couldn't make contact.
Well, it's thumbs up from Harry Sawyer. He doesn't mind that. It's a difficult one, but you can see he just tries to crane the neck muscles and get a glancing header.
You've got to wonder what Ufuk Tale's personal KPIs were tonight to be so unsatisfied with every moment that's gone against his team in the ebb and flow of the game. Especially given that they are about to flow forward again here, Sydney. And as the match opens up, it could be pick your scoreline from here. We've got 20 minutes to go. There's going to be lots of fatigued players that started this game in high 30-degree heat. The subs could have a real impact on what comes from here. Macarthur at the edge of the penalty area again. This is where it has become so difficult to find the right pass or the right shot. Bratton following up after Caceres lost the ball. It bounces past Sawyer. Ryan Grant clears. And I think the first and only thought of Callum Talbot there was to play a back pass to his keeper. Liam Rose recast at centre back now. Talbot. He was shaping to drive a cross from deep, but ultimately opted for a shorter pass. You see Bratton barging through, giving away a free kick. And Sydney FC, as we take another look at the foul here by Bratton on Paulo Konengstler, are readying a double change. See Abel Wallity on the right of your pictures, and in the number 44 is the 16-year-old Akol Akon, who is in line to make just his third Isuzu UTE A-League appearance. He's only played 65 minutes of action so far. Not sure why the game has hit a lull here. Thiago Quintal seems to be getting some personal attention from the referee.
Well, it's the fourth official taking so long with the board, if I'm going to be honest. We're all waiting for him to get the board up.
And so Pat Wood, third goal of the season, he leaves the game. Akol Akon, the 16-year-old, comes on, and Abel Wallity comes on for Thiago Quintal, who definitely had his moments in this game, but wasn't able to find the back of the net. You can see it's a happy Sydney sideline congratulating Pat Wood. And Wallity straight into the action with his first touch. What do you make of... we'll come back to that as this attack unfolds, but I will ask you what you've made of Pat Wood's performance tonight, Macca, and if he's done enough to keep his spot as a starter in this foul will give us the chance to mull over that question.
Well, he had a hand in the first goal. He was the one that really opened the defence, as we're going to see another substitution here with Bratton taking his leave for Dean Bosniak. Back to Pat Ward. He had a hand in the first goal. He's got himself a goal. I think he was a constant thorn in the side of Macarthur defenders. So we go to a drink break as well, do we? Yep.
Yes, regardless of temperature changes, if you take a drinks break or a cooling break in the first half, you have to take one in the second.
So the short answer to your question is he's had a great game, in my opinion.
Well, those are the thoughts of Daniel McBride. Let's get the observations now of Kat Haddad, who is our eyes and ears down on the sideline. Kat, with just over 15 minutes to go, what are you seeing?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, Kat. Thanks for that. Throwing me under the bus. It's been a difficult one, hasn't it? They've been very scrappy. I think it's going to be a bridge too far. I think the Sydney FC team has shown a lot more desire. They've been a lot more of a cohesive unit. They've been much better on the ball. And I can't see at this moment Macarthur finding a way back. And I will stand by my... And I'll just let this go.
Cross from Scott, hoping for Sawyer over his head. Garuccio once, twice. Now he's going to challenge Vickery here. Akon gets a touch. Kispe. Vickery backtracking. Liam Rose to Caceres. Series of deflections and the ball finds its way up.
No, I was just going to say I'll stand by my comments about Abel Wallerty being a danger. I did think that the game might be a lot closer by this point, but I actually think that works in his favour because Macarthur have to chase the game. They're going to have to throw bodies forward. No point sitting back, and he might find the space to stay high and receive that ball and be exposed 1v1.
Popovic. Akon chasing. Gets there before the line, but only to offer the ball up to Damien De Silva. Scott catches Holman. Free kick. Sydney FC, and it's a free kick in a dangerous position, similar territory to where Campethano is able to head in for 2-0.
And we've talked about Macarthur's sloppiness and how sharp Sydney have been tonight. Well, there's another key moment. Scott has the touch, not even aware that Holman is just nipping in around the side of him and gives away a simple foul, as you say, exactly the area where Sydney got their second from.
It's a beautiful camera angle of the header from Victor Campethano. The way it was able to evade Philip Curto but sneak inside the post. Can they repeat the dose? Garuccio in swinger, and this time it's Callum Talbot rising highest. Ocon Exler. There is a Sydney player down inside the penalty area. And booted away by Corey Holman as Alex Grant rather properly gets back to his feet. Of course, a pretty important piece of this Sydney FC team. He's going to remain on his haunches here and have a word to the referee.
You can see there.
It's friendly fire.
Yeah, Cole Akon was brought down or blocked, and then he brought his teammate to the floor.
We did hear from Kat during that cooling break that Central Coast are Macarthur's next opponent. 6 p.m. next Saturday in Gosford, but Sydney FC significantly next Sunday, January the 18th, they return to Allianz Stadium and they host the Wellington Phoenix. And that's a big deal for them. Back inside their home stadium, coming off a really, so far, strong result. And there'll be a pretty good feeling around Sydney FC sitting second on the table before they make their big homecoming.
And you're right, they'll be very glad to get back there. And you saw in the women's game, the state of the pitch. It was unacceptable, to be honest.
That's at Leichhardt Oval,
yeah.
you're mentioning?
Yes,
yep.
Sorry, yes. And they'll be glad to get back into their true home grounds.
The only question, perhaps, is what scoreline are they going to be taking with them into that game? It's 3 at present, just over 10 minutes to go. Lots of fresh legs out there now. It's a very different looking game from the 11s that started the match. Popovic has been full of confidence since coming on. You wouldn't know that he'd only played 8 minutes in his most recent appearance a month ago. And had only been used as a sub 3 times for the whole season. Here's Bosniak. Bernardo chasing, but Popovic again sliding in confidently. Dean Bosniak, Sawyer trying to roll his marker. Alex Grant did enough to break even, and that concedes a corner rather than a goal.
I actually think Sawyer just miscontrols that. It just bounces off the leg of Grant. And then it's just a little jilt. Does well to get his body across.
Quickly taken short corner, and Devon Ishmeers, who hasn't been quite as busy in this half as the first half, is able to collapse onto the ball. If he keeps a clean sheet tonight, Devon Ishmeers, it'll be 6 out of 11 so far this season.
Just 7 goals conceded for Sydney FC. They may have had some trouble in recent weeks scoring. Well, they've fixed that side of it. Clean sheet will be #1 priority now.
Kispe was miraculously able to regain his feet while keeping possession and thus launch this attack. Nicola Con. Campuzano, 1 already tonight, and he's denied a second. Acon, not quite. The 16-year-old following in, and Victor Campuzano nearly had a double.
Well, I thought at first it had crossed the line. Wonderful strike. Not for the first time tonight. Philip Curto could do nothing about it.
Sydney immediately regaining possession. Wallity. Okot Engstler. Campuzano. Travelling Sydney FC fans amusing themselves, cheering every pass. Campuzano accelerates and Rose is having none of it. Walter Scott. Bernardo. Not much company out on the left side of the pitch, but Caceres presents. It's been 2 pretty fruitless meetings against his former club this season. Anthony Caceres, 5-0 the aggregate score across almost 2 completed games. And Curto just punts the ball out.
Well, here's another look. Great camera work.
Yeah, and good assistant referee over on the outer side as well. Alessandro Liana definitely saw it right. Macarthur driving forward. Bernardo. Sawyer. A spin with no advancement of the ball though. Talbot. Sawyer went to ground and he almost ducked under the ball there. It just finds its way out for a goal kick.
Well, you could hear the groans of the crowd there when Sawyer didn't take the strike in the first instance. It sort of sums up the night, but that's a wonderful ball from Talbot. Puts it right into the danger area. Sydney FC defenders doing just enough.
Alexander Popovic, a rare opportunity for him. He's able to hold off Harry Sawyer there. Clean sheet stays intact. Macarthur, all the tricks are coming out. Kispe sends Akolakon away. Akolakon! Oh, the save, just enough of the ball for Curto. And now the flag goes up on the outer side. Well, the youngster who Sydney FC poached out of the academy from Wanderers, he's shown a bit since coming on.
There's a lot of talk about him being a real prospect. He just went a little too early there.
You do have to be careful with the really young ones. I saw him play in the Under-17 Asian Cup as a 15-year-old last year. He was a go-to sub for the Joeys, the Under-17 national team. And that was a tough tournament for him. But we're 6 months on here, and he's making the step up into senior football. It's exciting to see.
It is. It's a big step as well. So it needs to be managed well.
Here's Abel-Walati, former Western United man. Kispe. Garuccio's a natural left footer, and he had designs on the top right corner. He couldn't quite place it to perfection.
Now the offside flag has gone up after all that as well. That's a great call from the referee's assistant on the far side.
And Datso almost caught in possession by Campuzano. Sydney FC are pressing right to the finish line here against Macarthur. It's been a torrid night for the home side. They have often been so good at this venue. Perth got the better of them here for their first defeat at home in all competitions this season. Sydney FC have come across town and really separated themselves tonight. Here's Sawyer, and Devonish Mears still hard at work to preserve the clean sheets. Parries it out for a corner kick.
Well, it's another one of those ones where Devonish Mears, you'd expect him to save it. Takes a deflection, he is going down, but he's able to adjust in time. Gets up, you can see, doing his job. Harry Sawyer trying to spark something.
That's the voice of Devonish Mears you can hear, urging his defence on. That corner has swung out, the flag's up, the scrap continues, and now Liam Rose will turn around, see the ball in the net, and that the flag was up all along. You do wonder whether that scrap in the penalty area was necessary as a result.
Well, the flag, you can't see it there, but it did go up straight away. It wasn't the offside, it was the ball going out.
The Paramount Plus Player Index, Pierre Kispe has held top spot. Pat Wood, one of the goal scorers. Tiago Quintal right there with him. It's all Sydney FC, and the final standings in the Paramount Plus Player Index, there will be a decent little chunk of stoppage time for more goals and assists. That will be visited by the panel post-game. But for now, Pierre Kispe, top of the pops.
He's had a good game. No surprise to see it. Fully stacked with Sydney FC players. They have been extremely dominant tonight. Devonish Mears, he got one to the face last week, didn't he? And I asked him after the game, have you ever been involved in boxing? He said no. He's gone and got the hard man haircut, hasn't he? It's gone even shorter this week. Maybe taking some inspiration from himself.
Well, he's really looked the part tonight. His confidence in the air, he's one-grabbed every catch he's made. He's had some good saves.
I tell you, I think he's probably one of, if not the most improved players this year in the league.
Here comes Bernardo, more tests on the way. Sawyer, and that one a shot on target, but not moving with anywhere near enough velocity to take this clean sheet off the Sydney FC keeper.
Well, again, it's Sawyer trying to blot that clean sheet for Sydney FC, but Devonish Mears, another relatively simple save, it must be said.
Talbot. Bosniak. Randazzo got a hustle. Keeps the ball moving. Bernardo shooting from distance and sending it over the bar.
Well, maybe a little bit of frustration in that strike. Did have numbers in the box. He was going to take some strike from that distance to trouble the keeper.
Well, a full 90 will still be important for Bernardo Oliveira. He had a limited pre-season, has been building his minutes, having broken back into the team. As the board goes up for 3 minutes of stoppage time, Sydney FC in command. A goal early in the second half to double their lead. Really was the difference in being able to just manage this one to the finish line. And even though it's been an open and end-to-end close to the match, Macarthur have never really threatened to score the necessary 3 goals to set up a grandstand finish. They haven't stopped trying. Talbot and Vickery not able to run onto the flick from Sawyer. Three minutes for a half that had a cooling break. Perhaps suggests that the referee has seen enough. Doesn't need to add on too much more. Those are the Sydney FC fans you can hear singing and chanting in the background. Whether they drove or whether they caught the train, it's going to be a happy trip back for them tonight, regardless of what part of the city they came to Campbelltown from.
What this 3 points does for Sydney FC is move them within 2 points of Auckland with a match in hand, and that game that was called off for the pitch at Leichhardt. Gee, that's going to be a big one, isn't it?
February the 17th it was announced this week, so still 5 weeks away, plenty of time to think about it, and as things stand it'll be those two squaring off against each other in consecutive games, so who knows, could be Premiership week on Paramount Plus. I'm sure there are other teams that would want to have their say and gate crash the top 2, but for now it's all about Sydney and Auckland top billing. Can Macarthur leave with a consolation? Bosniak, Bernardo. He extracts the ball and sends it high and wide. Sawyer chasing, but ball finds its way out, and we tick into the last minute of the additional 3. There are those travelling fans. Being great contributors to the spectacle tonight. And they're going to leave very happy. Goal kick from Devonish Mears. Rose's header, Sawyer. As the ball bounces out, that might just take it to the close in the hands of Ben Garruccio over this throw-in. A look at the watch from the referee. And 3 precious points in the bank for Sydney FC. They take control of second place in the Isuzu UTE League. Pat Wood scoring his 3rd of the season, as did Victor Campathano. Victale congratulates his team on a job well done, and the soul searching will begin for Macarthur, comprehensively outplayed at home. A disappointing showing in a game that promised so much. It delivered for Sydney FC. Piero Quispe able to score his first A-League goal tonight. And Mitch Duke waiting in the wings. Go back to another week of training, chomping at the bit to get into the mix and help out this Macarthur team, because they've been soundly beaten tonight. Macarthur FC 0, Sydney FC 3. And so Philip Curto walking off, having a chat with Victale there. Macarthur will set their sights on a trip to Gosford to face the Central Coast, while Sydney FC, those fans will be back at Allianz Stadium for the first time this season on Sunday the 18th of January, and how welcome a return that will be. The former Sydney FC connections just didn't have a say tonight. Bratton and Caceres. And across the two games between the teams this season, 5-0 combined score. 2-0 at Leichhardt, 3-0 at Campbelltown. It's been sky blue domination in this battle of Sydney teams. Let's go down to ground level. Kat Haddad, take it away.
Jerseys that we saw on the pitch today, worn by the players on the field, yes, you'll be able to scan the QR code and bear those jerseys. All the players that are in the site, including, I haven't mentioned this before,